Hi, we're at Riverbend Music Center, I guess it is, here in the vendor parking lot, otherwise known as Shakedown Street here in Ohio. And we have a group here from the Freedom Fest Club that is doing drug education and death prevention. And we have our captain here.
Founder.
What do you go by in the
Uh,
line?
they call me Papa Rick.
Papa Rick, okay. And
uh,
this is your lovely lady?
Yeah, it's my wife
That's
and my
your
my
wife?
daughter.
And oh, you got your daughter in the car there too.
Uh,
And what brought you to this to do this kind of a thing here? Because
well, 2013, a friend of mine died at Legend Valley, and in her memory, I put this thing together to try to keep people from dying from drug overdose. I found out about dance safety test kits and stuff like that, and I thought, this needs to be out there a little bit more. We need them in our communities. They need to be at every corner store. They need to be someplace where people can get a hold of the test kits. This reduces the risk of death by about 98%. It also makes the drug dealers have to be honest and sell the drugs that they're supposed to be selling, and not something that's mixed with something else that could hurt somebody. I mean, they should be selling drugs here. Rule number one, don't do drugs. Rule number two, refer back to rule number one. But some of us in life don't listen, and it's kind of hard, when you spend, you know, I've been on tour, and I've always kept test kits around on tour and stuff. But some of these people didn't do so. Uh, while I was gone, up until the COVID virus, uh, I didn't actually realize how many people were passing away until I come back to my hometown. 57 people that I knew had passed away from fentanyl or oxycontins. And the simple fact is, there's so many pill presses out there that they're using. They're mixing compound chemicals. When you mix two benzos, you can cause adrenal failure. A combination of dehydration, the asphyxiation from the drugs, where it shuts down different parts of your respiratory and your heart, as well as your urinary tract, and your ability to go number two. So this is what causes most of your deaths. It's called asphyxiation. And the second is lack of water. By being out here, we try to keep it a constant visual reminder of how dangerous this stuff really is. But the worst part isn't just dying from drugs. Actually, for a lot of us, that would be a blessing. I mean, because to die, it's over. I believe that there's a heaven. A lot of people don't. But I won't go into beliefs. My belief is, there is a God. There is something else here. Energy can't be created nor destroyed through, therefore it always was, so it always is. And the simple fact is, our brothers and sisters are dying at an alarming rate, especially the ones, they just can't leave home to go off to college. And, they want to be part of the in crowd. They got to party down. They got to do this and that. And a lot of them make a lot of mistakes while they're in school. And they think that they're invincible, bulletproof, and nothing can stop them. But I can honestly tell you, this is not true. I was in, the worst part isn't, like I said, isn't dying. The worst part is getting caught, going to prison, going from, I was a happy, loving hippie. I loved everybody, tried to treat everybody with respect, never took nothing from nobody, tried not to hurt nobody. Problem is, though, that people get greedy, and they start mixing this with that, and trying to corner this market or that market. In the process of it, we got a lot of kids that are dying. But here's the thing: when they can't lie to you and tell you this is what this is and it's not, that reduces most of your risk. There's actually very few people actually overdose anything. Most of the time, it's like again, lack of water. Most of your deaths are caused from lack of water. But the simple fact is, we have to do something more. We have to go out here, and this is a visual reminder. We have a drug test kit. I'm gonna bring the paper over here. Okay? This particular kit is from dancing, and as you can see through the picture on here, each one of these represent a different type of test, and each of these tests give us a list of chemicals that show up on each one of these tests. When we do these tests, it tells us everything that's in the drug. Okay, with that, and with a basic common knowledge of your health. Are you anemic? Do you have diabetes? What kind of health conditions do you have? So the ones who do choose to do these things, and don't listen to the good sense of rule number 1 and rule number 2, don't do drugs. Uh, Here's rule number 3, and that is, this is a survivor's guide. This is what enables a lot of people to do what they do and live long enough to grow up. Hopefully before the blue lights come on behind their rig, and then their college education ain't worth the paper it's printed on. It's time for a change. It's time for a change in how we look at people. It's time for a change when we see somebody that's out here on the street corner. You know, Freedom Fest Club, we don't believe in passing anybody up on the side of the road. We always stop and give somebody something to eat, offer them a place to stay, and we take them along with us for a little while. And if they're not helping themselves, then we did all we can do. We pick people up, we take them to the detox centers. You know, if somebody needs a test kit, we bring it to them as the best we can. I actually went to jail for 6 months because they wanted to know who jumped out of my car. Throw their bubble and their meth down and into my floorboard. So I had to go do 6 months. I could have walked away if I had told them who it was, but then I'd have destroyed another life and another family. It's not worth it to me to destroy somebody's life. And you know, I made the mistake to make the decisions that I made in my life. It cost me 20 years of my life behind bars. And the simple fact is, this is the rudimentary. I literally have almost a master's degree in theology and business. How many people will hire an ex-felon to run their business? You know, not very many. So, you know, this is a shout out to those who are out there. This is a serious situation. These drugs are cocktails now. You go get LSD, it's not just LSD. If you go get opioids, most of the time it's fentanyl. Okay, so in fact, cocaine is tested for methamphetamines. Ketamine is tested for fentanyl. I mean, it just goes. The Molly is testing for bath salts. You know, each of these categories. I'm gonna try to get up here closer to the camera and see if you can get a good picture of this. This kind of shows you the categories. Okay, you know, if we use these checklists and follow some, there's stuff on the Dance Safe website. Luckily, my technical abilities is not too good. I was in prison, so I didn't grow up with the internet age, as I should have. Instead, I was, you know, locked to a landline computer that wasn't hooked to nothing. So I didn't understand the technology and stuff like this. So, you know, there's so many things you don't realize that you miss. But the worst part of it is sitting there on that fence, watching the world go by you. You know, your family's out there hungry. You know, you know, the cops are supposed to be here protecting and serving. But who are they serving? Themselves? They take nonviolent people and put them in prison every day into a violent situation where they have to fight with the gangs. I mean, they're getting raped in there. They're getting exploited, murdered. COVID, they throw them in a hole. Now, it's left them there to die. This is the type of stuff that we have. Genocide. And the simple fact is, we have to do something different. We have to face the people. We have to be able to to understand the gravity of the situation. You're not going to stop drug use. You're not going to stop alcoholism. Prohibition does not work. I'm not sitting here advocating just to legalize drugs, but in essence, the only way you can actually create a safer environment is by total legalization. Because then you can control the quality. You know, you got people who can administer the medications so that they don't overdose and end up dead. Most people, after a little while, when you take the thrill of the hunt out of it, the chase, most people actually don't continue. So I mean, that's the ruse, the money. You know, I never made no money. Never made no money selling drugs. I had some good times. I got a party with some of the best musicians that was out there, on stage, off stage. We won't mention no names, but out of honor and respect. But the simple fact is, we have to start being more careful. Each venue has a responsibility, not to send their patrons home as soon as the show's over. Let them stay till morning so they get a chance to have 4 or 5 hours sleep. To sleep what they've been doing the night before off. That's a responsibility of the venue. You know, the insurance companies won't cover you if you have overnight camping. Oh, but they want all these claims on these accidents. Come on, I mean, they're padding statistics, they're padding things to justify ways to get you higher rates to exploit you even further. And it goes down to the insurance companies, to the rehabs, to the police station where they warehouse you. The treatment is not there. The treatment is throwing you in a house someplace where you're in there for 30 days just being a dry drunk. Well, it's when you realize that, an addiction is not necessarily staying sober. It's when you make a mistake, you get up, you wipe your knees off, and you pick up where you left off, and you try to keep going in the right direction. But we don't always make it go in the right direction. But when we stumble and fall, we're gonna have somebody come by and cut our heads off in the process, or are they gonna send us home and say, hey, listen, hey, we all had to grow up one time or another. Kids don't get a chance to grow up no more. They're thrown out into the streets. Our parents are too busy to take care of the kids. They're living at babysitters that are not taking care of them, and they're not guiding them. The only thing we see on TV is drugs, violence, sex, and it's ridiculous. We don't look at our environment, the grass that grows from the ground, the water that we drink, that we're contaminating ourselves with every day, which is much more harmful than most of these drugs that we're putting out there altogether. And these are the issues that we have to face. And the only way we can face them is to realize the demon in me and the demon in you. And that demon in me gets me in a lot of trouble. And but we all have that good side and we all have that bad side. But it's about making a choice and to stand for what is right. Even in the midst of what I might do something wrong. But my heart's always got to look for the positive in everything that I do. We got thousands of people coming out of prisons without jobs. Now, is there an excuse for this? No. Politicians allow them to sell off jobs by the price to knowing that they can't make it off the amount of money that they're living off of. Auctioning off their homes, their places. I'm in a foreclosure right now. I just got a 10-day notice on a land contract that I was in. And COVID was going on, all this. They're not supposed to be able to evict me. But guess what? I'm still out here. I've been on the streets before. I'll be here again. The man Rex Almond blessed me by selling me the property that we're living on. But when we get caught up, for many years I didn't do the right things, and sometimes I still screw up. But we don't have a support system out there. You go to call AA. I try to call my sponsor. Hey, could you come get me? Oh, we don't do that no more. Now, how's a friend helping a friend when you're not being a friend? Human contact is necessary. A bond with our environment, our surroundings. Who's our brothers and sisters? Every blade of grass that's out there. Every animal that breathes and drinks and eats and supports our food system. Every living person on this earth is our brothers and our sisters. And when we step on our brothers and our sisters' heads, rather than doing what? One simple act. And that simple act is this. When somebody falls down. Hey, brother. Are you okay? Are you breathing? Let's pick you up. Let's dust you off. Make sure you get some food, some water, and you're back healthy. That's what's important. And for many years, I've not been healthy. And my body's 54 years old. My body's starting to show the wear of the road and a lot of abuse. It's time not only for me to change. It's the whole attitude and the way we look at things needs to go to a different avenue. You have any other questions for me? I feel like I'm rambling.
Well, you've got some things going on. You're supporting a little bit by selling some French fries.
Well, donations.
Donations and
through here.
Okay, donations are accepted through the Atomic Workers Credit Union. Can they go to this
FreedomFest.club?
The FreedomFest.club?
We locked out of our email.
Okay.
Stuff there, we cannot get back into our email.
So they should go to the Atomic Workers Credit Union?
On the news feeds, on Facebook.
Okay.
To make sure that it's out there. It only goes on Instagram, Facebook, and a couple of other different places. You should see us on the news feeds. We try to be at every show that we can afford to possibly go. The cost of us to run 1 year to run a van to actually do this the way we really should be doing it instead of just out of out of my car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need like 4 people on every show. One person running the stuff to keep the funds coming. One person to actually do the testing, and we need a couple other people to go around and make sure people got water, something to drink, things like this. This goes a long way. Walking through the crowd with a spray bottle, making sure people stay cool. You know, make sure, hey, listen, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. And if you see somebody starting to turn, look a little bit pale, right in through here, you can almost, I can almost see it before it happens. Because, I mean, literally, they turn gray right around the eyes. And when they're starting to gray, that means they got a lack of oxygen. They got a lack of water intake. Okay? That's when, if you don't get them to them before that happens, they drop. And once they drop, the chances of them having a stroke are almost immediate. Having a heart attack, heart failure, liver failure, kidney failure. This is a simple fact. So, I mean, please, if you can, go to freedomfest.club, Atomic Workers Credit Union. Just call them up and say, hey, we'd like to make a donation to freedomfest.club. It's $89,000 a year to run one van with a driver and a cook, is what we call it. The other 2 are volunteers. They just come along for the ride. We have to pay for their tickets to get into the shows. We got to pay for our spots that we go. It's literally $89,000 a year to operate this just one van. I mean, there's 20 of these festivals going on per weekend. I cannot possibly man all 20 festivals. Luckily, Dance Safe has a network of other people that do the same thing that I do. Be honest with you, there's only really 4 groups. FreedomFest.club, Test It, Dance Safe, and Bunk Police. I don't know if 2 of those are actually registered. I think the only Dance Safe and FreedomFest.club are actually the only 2 legitimate organizations. I don't know for sure about the other 2 because I have not actually researched that, but somebody told me neither one of them had a license to do what they were doing. We're going to be doing a thing. We're hoping to get with a hold of Hope Over Heroin in Jackson, Ohio. We spoke with the mayor. We're always waiting to get our itinerary and different speakers. We also need speakers. We'd like to have people from the prisons to discuss, what type of problems that people walk in reentry. We'd like people to discuss, bring your pictures of your loved ones down to Jackson Park in Jackson, Ohio, that's passed away. People need a visual representation, and actually how many people. Southeastern Ohio has the highest death toll anywhere in the world. It's time for it to stop. I'm tired of I just got a notice yesterday that another one of my friends had passed away. That's 58. It's 58 people I know in 5 years.
And how about a closing statement? What do you have, a tagline or a
Test it.
test it?
Test it before you ingest it, just as the flyer says. Please test it. Please, your life depends on it. And you know something, for rule number 1, don't do it at all. If I could go back and beat my young butt up, I'd kick my ass.
Okay, thank you very much. You've been so informative about this.
Thank you.
Okay.
God bless. I hope I didn't go too far with it.